All right, so the next exercise is the chain rule, 9E. Now this here will make sense once I show you with some numbers. I think that's easier to do. So I'm going to teach you the chain rule, and the first thing is that you'll remember from what we've done before is if you get something like this, we can also say that Q of X is equal to F of G of X, where G of X is what is inside our bracket and F of X is the whole function surrounding that, so 2x to the power of 4. Okay, now why do we use this? If we had a question like this, to expand that totally and then differentiate will be a waste of your time. It'll take a very long time and it would be a waste once I show you how to do it. So what we're going to do is, and you won't do this every time, once you see the pattern of the chain rule, even in the next one, you won't do this step. But let's have a look so it makes sense to you. We're going to let what's inside the bracket equal A. All right, and then I'm going to tell you that the chain rule states that to differentiate that, we're going to differentiate A, so that would be what's in here, and we're going to multiply that by the outer function. Okay, so the outer function in this case would be A to the power of 5. So we're going to multiply that by A to the power of 5, the differentiation of it. So we're going to differentiate what's inside, and then we're going to multiply the basic one, so A to the power of 5. So let's see what happens when we do that. So if we differentiate A, this being A, we're going to go 3 3s are 9. X, I'm going to take off 1, so that becomes 9x squared, and of course x by itself just becomes 1. And we're going to multiply that by, differentiating this, 5. But I'm not going to put A, I'm going to actually put this straight back in because you guys can do that. 3x cubed minus x to the power of 4. And then to write that a little bit nicer, we're just going to go 5 bracket 3x cubed minus x to the power of 4, 9x squared minus 1. And it's quite ugly, but that's as far as you go. That's using the chain rule, you've differentiated. Now, you won't do these two steps, I would suggest, going forward, because this is so straightforward. So let's not use those steps. Let's have a look and see how we can just do it straight off. So we're going to differentiate what's inside, and then we're going to differentiate this as a whole and multiply them together. And of course, it doesn't matter which way you go. I'm going to do the whole first. So thinking it's 4x A to the power of negative 4, if you'd like to be thinking that, or even writing it. So I'm going to go 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. There's an x there. So the x is going to stay there. Now the A is actually 5x squared plus 1. And if we take away 1 from negative 4, we get negative 5. And we're going to multiply that by the differentiation of what's inside the bracket. So 5x squared plus 1, if we do dy dx of that, we're going to get 10x. So we're going to multiply that by 10x. Okay, so moving on from there, we're going to go negative. It's going to be on the top. 16 times 10 is 160. And x times x is x squared. And this is negative 5. So the rest of it goes on the bottom. 5x squared plus 1 to the power of 5. All right, let's keep going. Now, this is actually a mistake. This should say y equals, and this should say y equals. So just be careful with that. All right, let's see how we're going. So we're going to go dy dx equals, I'm going to differentiate this as a whole. So we put the 3 down the front, we keep what's in the bracket as it is, and we take away 1, so this becomes 2. Then we're going to multiply that with the differentiation of what's inside the bracket. So inside the bracket, we have 2x to the negative 2. So if we're going to multiply that out, we get minus 4x. Minus 2 minus 1 is minus 3. Okay, let's see what we've got. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. This is all positive, so 2 over x squared squared. And we've still got this, which needs to go to the bottom, which is x cubed. Okay, so yeah, it is looking pretty ugly. So if you do some questions and you think it can't be right, please look it up, because you're probably okay. All right, before I do anything with this, I'm actually going to change the way it looks. I'm going to bring all the stuff that's on the bottom up to the top. So copying exactly what you've got on the bottom, but of course this will be a negative 2. All right, so then I'm going to differentiate this as a whole. So 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. What's inside the bracket? Leave it there. Minus 2 minus plus 1. Sorry, minus 2 minus 1 is minus 3. I'm going to multiply that by the differentiation of what's inside the bracket. So differentiating that, you'll get minus 3x squared plus 5. All right, let's see what we can do with that. A negative and a negative is going to make a positive. We can deal with that now or later. Let me think. Actually, let's just put, yeah, a negative and a negative, because this is positive and this is positive. So negative and a negative is making a positive. 6 3s are 18. This is going to go on the bottom. X squared. What have I done there? Oh, no, I can't do that. I've got to keep that out. We don't want to expand that. So if I did that, 6 times 3 is 18, I'd have to expand that. We don't want to do that. So we're just going to go 6 out the front. Have a look at what else is out the front. Sorry, up the top, not out the front. That's what else is up the top. And then this is down the bottom. So on the bottom, we're going to have negative x cubed plus 5x plus 10 to the power of 3. In your answers, they might take this negative out. I'm not sure how they would do it, so just look for a different one if you get to that point, and it's a multiple choice question. Okay, moving on one step more, which you'll find quite straightforward. Find the gradient of the tangent of the curve at the point 4, 2. All right, so what does that mean we need to do? To find the gradient of the tangent at the curve, we need to differentiate. So if this is our f of x, let's go ahead and do f dash x from what we've just learnt. So we are going to go 2 times 2 is 4. Write down what's in the bracket and do 2 subtract 1. So that's just a 1, so I'm going to leave that. I'm going to multiply by the differentiation inside the bracket. So multiplied by 2x minus 6. All right, let's see what we've got. So we're going to have this one. I am going to just put in an extra line there. I'm going to take the 2 out the front. All right, so now we've got 2 times 4. I'm going to go 8x minus 3, x squared minus 6x plus 9. Now that would be the end if we didn't have more information. We want to know what the gradient is at that point. So that means we need to put in when x is equal to 4. So we'll just put x is equal to 4. 8 times 1, 16. I better write that out. 4 4s are 16 minus 24 plus 9 it is. 8 times 1 minus 8, times 1. So it's 8. Okay, so what is it that you're trying to find? You need to write that out. So gradient is 8 when x equals 4. Excellent. Okay, so that's 9E. Let's turn the page and we'll do the couple of quick questions, exam questions. So the first one, 98. I actually think I'm going to not talk because these are straightforward of what we've just done. So have a go yourself doing these and then have a look. Okay, have a look at 98. See if you agree with what I've done. This is even simpler, this one. Okay. So that is 9E. Thanks, guys. Make sure you come back into chat and ask for help while you're doing this exercise. Thank you.